Yeah, speaking of just crazies and people unacceptable behavior, let's go to. I am at a comedy club in New York City. Doesn't really matter, but what it is. But know that the room is not well policed. And I'm closing the show out a couple weeks ago, whatever. And I'm doing this. I'm doing this joke. Like I had already done a couple bits where they were kind of like on board and everything, and they were pretty great. They were a pretty great audience, and I start talking about like gun control. Like and in a very I'm not into politics at all, and like it is in no way, shape, or form like here's what we got.
No, but it's the topic that makes people want to express themselves.
Exactly,
because they think somehow that their opinion will sway anybody, but it's all verbal masturbation.
Right. So yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
so
they're just jizzing their opinion on you and then giving you a towel to clean up after.
So like without having like without doing the whole fucking bit, basically the premise is just the idea that like I was always against guns until I fired a gun.
Yeah.
And now I get it. Like
sure.
now it's like now I understand why that's what everybody who's against gun control are just people that haven't fired a gun yet.
Right.
Is the fucking...
It's like McLovin in Superbad when he fires the cop's gun and he's like,
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like the thought process there. Which is still like an innocuous, like I'm not being, no hard stance are being taken. I'm just making a joke, right? So I see this woman and to the left, she's probably, I don't know, like in her like late 50s or something, and she's by herself, which is already like a bad sign at a comedy club, you know? And this woman starts screaming. She just goes, lock him up! Lock him up! Like screaming, lock him up. And I was like startled because I was like, oh no, what's happening? Someone's being raped. And I look over and she is staring at me in the eyes, and I go, lock who up? And she goes, you, like that, and stared at me, and everyone did like a what, like an over the shoulder thing, and I was like, lock me up for talking about gut. And she just was like the whole time had like these crazy eyes where she was staring at me, and for the rest of my set I'm pretty sure didn't blink. I had like another 5 minutes, you know, like at first I was kind of like, oh, you're kind of not a fucking crazy person, you know. I kind of like shot her down a bit. I was like we should keep guns illegal for people like you so you don't get them, you know. Like I was like hammering her a few, and then like, but then the worst part is like when you're the last person on the show,
she's like the only person at Walmart that would get turned away at the cashier.
Yeah, exactly. But it's one of those things where you're like, if you're the last person on the show, once you get off stage, like the lights are gonna come up, everybody's like leaving, so it's like now, do I leave and try and like beat her out of the club? Do I wait until she's gone? Like I don't know if she's like pacing outside.
You hope
with like
to meet her at the doorway and fucking Heisman her in the
face.
That
would be. And I never. She was like, she ended up being gone, but I was like, that's just a fucking to just scream.
She only existed in your brain.
Yeah, to scream, lock him up, and then just stare at me for like some verbal for me to be like, you're right, I'm turning myself in about talking about guns.
That's when you wanna make your Irish goodbye.